she's considered like the mother goddess in Ayurveda. She has hundreds of different capacities and things that she can do.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. I love it when I interview someone and their love of the plant that they choose shines through so vividly. And that was definitely the case with Anjali and Tulsi. I loved her very practical and specific indications for when to try her Tulsi Chai recipe, as well as the parallels between Tulsi's effects on digestion and the lungs. For those of you who don't already know her, Anjali Deva is an Ayurvedic practitioner currently residing in the mountains of Southern California. Her private practice, rooted Rasa, specializes in an integrative and trauma-informed approach to Ayurveda. Anjali founded Mādhya Way, a school for Ayurveda, in 2020 to provide education in trauma-informed care. She's the co-author of From Stressed Out to Stress Wise, published in July 2023. She's dedicated to sharing the wisdom of Ayurveda for the benefit of all living beings. Welcome to the show, Anjali.
Thank you.
Very excited to have you here. I feel I've been hearing your name a lot, and this is the first time we've met. I've been really looking forward to it. And I'm excited to hear about your plant path and all that has brought you here to us today.
Likewise. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to chat with you and also to finally get to see you and be in space with you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. So I was introduced to plants, I guess, through my father. My father's an Ayurvedic practitioner. And, growing up, my parents were divorced, so my time was split between them. And whenever I was with my dad, he would have some new holistic toothpaste or a new natural shampoo, or he was cooking a new green. And so it was in my sphere and in my world, but not really a part of my daily life. And my mom, who is not, traditionally Ayurvedic, but is very steeped in Indian culture, had all of these remedies. So anytime I had a stomach ache, it was like ginger tea or cumin water or rubbing turmeric all over my body. It was just sort of, part of the culture that I grew up in, even in West Hollywood. Like the plants from India sort of followed us here. And so I guess they've always been a part of my life, but it wasn't until I was in my early 20s and decided to formally start studying Ayurveda where I got really interested in gardening and spending time growing plants and just the mystery and the mysticism of going from seed to flower. Just, I still to this day, brings me to tears. It's so magical.
That's so true. I love that.
Yeah. So I think, through my parents and through our cultures, how I was introduced to plants.
Is your father so happy and proud that you kind of followed in his footsteps?
Totally. He's
Yeah.
super happy, super proud. And then every once in a while, he has a little moment of jealousy, which is really funny.
Um, I think of so many, now at my age, I have a lot of friends with kids and they've raised their kids with herbal remedies and um not a lot of the kids I think we all have this a lot of people have this dream their kids will be herbalists,
Yeah.
because they're kind of they're yeah, just really into it and then that doesn't always happen.
Mm.
Oftentimes the kids aren't that's not their path, they have their own path to go down.
Totally.
So,
I think I rebelled quite strongly before I came back
I
around.
see. I see. All right. That's good. It gives some hope out there.
Yeah, yeah, you
Sort of
kind of
like,
have to,
maybe they'll
like,
come
go
back.
full circle, like, ricochet
Okay.
back around.
Okay. Um, I'm curious about your book. I just love to talk about that briefly and just how that came about. And, it's a very like, um, the title working with stress, but it's really focused on educators and stress in the classroom. I love that that's so specific. And just as I was reading about it and it just seemed and something that's so needed because
Mm,
the learning environment can be so stressful. So I'm just kind of
yeah.
curious how that came about.
Yeah, totally. My dear friend Abby, who's my co-author on the book, is an educator, and she's been
Mm,
teaching yoga in schools in LAUSD for over 2 decades now. She's a really gifted and amazing person, and she wanted to write a book. So she submitted a proposal, and once that was approved, she asked to bring me in as a co-author. So my role was to help facilitate bringing Ayurveda into the book
mhm,
so that we could have some, sciencey information about digestion, about mental health, about sleep, all of these pillars of our health. Um, because we wrote this book, I think in 2022. So we were kind of coming out of deep pandemic and we're
mhm,
just seeing the ramifications in students and the amount of stress that they were holding. And we really wanted to provide guidebooks for facilitators, educators, counselors, principals, even to be able to bring yoga, mindfulness, Ayurveda into the classroom in a way that was supportive for them as well as the students. I
mhm,
think what we found in a lot of educational programs is that it was kind of prescriptive. Like you read from a script, and the kids are supposed to sit still, and then everyone's supposed to feel better. And it doesn't really work like that.
mhm,
These practices are meant to be dynamic and embodied. And our hope was that if we can gear it towards educators, it might start them on a practice that they can
mhm,
share with students. So it feels very communal and holistic. And I think our sort of like weaselly secret part is that we like hope all children at some point get introduced to these wisdom practices so that they have better ability to work with stress. Like it's inevitable. We're going to have stress in our lives. It's going to happen. But how we relate to it, how we have awareness of it, how we manage it is tools that we can pass on. And the earlier we learn them, the better.
mhm.
So,
I
yeah.
really love that, Anjali. Something I think of like 100 times a day is like in all different facets of life is like, what do people do without herbs? And I realize this is more, this is very
Yeah.
holistic and including practices of Ayurveda and meditation and yoga. So I'll just throw out that whole banner. But like, what do people do without these practices?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought about that in so many different contexts. And just, speaking of LA, I have long thought, like, why not instead of like a Starbucks on every other hub at the airport, why don't we have like the chamomile stand and like the elderberry stand, right? Of like calm, like we don't need people more jacked on coffee. We need more chamomile in in this experience. And then with all the like immune, supportive, why are we like not giving out elderberry stuff? And then when I was in LA airport a few years ago, they actually did have elderberry shots. Like they had this whole
Really?
like stand. Yeah. And I was like, all right, it's getting there. So I think of that in this situation too. It's like there's just so many different facets where
Mhm.
herbalism and then all of those wonderful practices have a place in so many different parts of our lives. So, yeah,
Yeah,
again, I love that it's so specific. I love that it's helping people who really need it, like school teachers and children.
totally. Yeah, I feel the same way that you do about herbs with meditation. I'm like, if we all just had like a 20-minute practice, I think we
Mhm.
could just be so much more of a grounded society.
Absolutely. And I love that because I am now a 2 a day meditation practicer since
Nice.
January. So I've been going on several months now of
Wow, congrats.
meditation. Yeah, so I feel very like, yeah, right, everybody. But I actually do, like, I'm trying not to be annoying right now with the meditation thing, but pretty much everyone I've talked to, I'm just like, they mention something, and I'm like, "But do you meditate?" And, I used to be like, "But do you have ginger?" Now I'm
Right.
like, now I do both. So, yeah, I highly recommend the meditation as well. It has transformed my life.
I love that. Yeah. And meditating with plants is even better.
Yes, even better. Love that. Well, so you've chosen one of my very favorite herbs. I try not to say that every episode, but this one, like, I really mean it. It's one of my very favorite herbs, and I'm really excited to hear what you have to share about Tulsi.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite herbs too. I'd like for sure top 2, maybe Tulsi and ginger.
Mm,
I even have Tulsi, like, tattooed on my arm. That's how much I love her. But I was introduced to Tulsi, I mean, throughout my life, like, everywhere in India, she grows so abundantly, and I never really thought about it. Like, it was just sort of like basil or cilantro or,
mm,
any other culinary herb. And as I got older, I started to notice that these Tulsi plants were in the courtyards of so many temples.
mm,
And just thinking about that connection of like this specific plant is grown in temples all across the country of India, like in the north, in the south, if you're worshiping a goddess or a god or just in any of the temples, Tulsi is abundant there. And so I started looking into her health properties and learning that she's considered like the mother goddess in Ayurveda. She has hundreds of different capacities and things that she can do. And my favorite is just seeing like the intersection of digestion and breath, like how she's so great for your digestive system and also so good for your lungs.
mhm,
And I feel like those are just such important systems within the body that also like mirror and impact each other. And her capacity to strengthen and bring resilience and bring harmony and immunity to both of those systems, I just was like floored.
mm.
And then I decided to grow some Tulsi. And I swear to God, just looking at like how beautiful this plant is and all of her different forms and colors and the tiny purple flowers and like the perfect trident that she grows, it was just like, yeah, I just fell in love. I felt like I was like in a relationship.
I can just tell that you're a plant person and your gardening love, just that's the side effect of gardening, I feel like, is that falling in love with the beautiful, simple things, and you embody that so well.
Oh.
I'm curious, so for years I grew, temperate Tulsi or African Tulsi
Mhm.
and loved it, I still do love it so much, and then I kinda got clued into, like, "Oh, this is, like, a kind of Tulsi plant, but not necessarily the one that's been used so much in Ayurveda or studied so much." And so then I started growing the other kinds. I'm curious what kinds you're growing.
Yeah. Well, I've grown the African varietal because that seems to work well in my
Hmm.
climate. But
Hmm.
I've also grown some of the Krishna and the Varna, so the really dark purple leaved ones. Those are really beautiful. And I'm forgetting the name of the variety, but it's got really tiny leaves, really small green leaves. But my favorite is the dark purple Tulsi. There's just something so fragrant about it that I just
Hmm.
love.
And that's the Krishna.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
Krishna.
yeah,
Mhm.
lovely. Is that what you mainly grow then? Is the Krishna, or and then also the temperate or African?
Yeah, mostly the African since moving to Idlewild and getting snow, which is really new for me, I feel like I've had the most luck with that one. When I was in
Mhm.
LA, it was a lot more abundant with the other varietals.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, with the Krishna, I also love it, and it just doesn't, like, I have to grow many, many plants to get close to how much I can get. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, as a Tulsi lover, what do you think about the temperate or African Tulsi in terms of, like, is it similar to
Yeah, I do think it is, and, to be honest, I was just in India like, a month ago, actually, and I was at a temple in South India, and they had I wanna say, like, maybe half a mile long field of Tulsi, and it was all of that African varietal, and so it was really beautiful to see it in India just flourishing, and I'm
Mm,
sure there's some overlap there, so I personally do think it is just as medicinal and beautiful and fragrant as the other varieties.
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm curious how big those plants were. Just I was in Austin last year at the American Botanical Council. They have a
Mhm.
garden there, and
Uh-huh.
their Tulsi was like 10 times larger than my Tulsi, and I was like, "Oh," like the African variety was.
Yeah, these were like
And
bushes. Like
yeah, yeah. My little northern climate is not quite the same. But that
yeah,
is one thing that is loved about Tulsi is that it's one of the, adaptogen herbs that we can grow somewhat easily. It's much
yeah,
easier to grow than, say,
yeah.
not that these are comparable, but than ginseng or, um,
Mhm,
other plants that just take more roots and etc.
mhm.
So yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
and it's so abundant. I mean, within 3 months, you could have medicine, where
mhm.
something like ashwagandha can take 4 years, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I only can grow it as an annual, but then, like, the amount that I can grow is, like, I get, like, 2 tablespoons of dried root, so of ashwagandha. Um, there's something about Tulsi, I feel like once people begin to experience Tulsi and start working with Tulsi, I feel like Tulsi can kind of, I don't know, permeate you in such a way that it can kinda take over. Because 'Cause I'm just remembering I had this idea just last year. I was like, "What if I build a greenhouse and all I grow is Tulsi, and then I'll make" my idea was to do Tulsi infused oil,
Ooh.
which I just think is amazing, like, and now I'm starting to make Tulsi cream with that Tulsi oil, and I thought that's what I would just like I just sell it locally, at the market and stuff. Anyway, that was, like, this dream I had for, like, 2 weeks. I then decided that's not realistic, but that's, like, what Tulsi does, though. I feel like it just works its way in, and then,
Yeah, totally, and I feel like she does that in the garden too, like, she can just take over, in the right climate. I have a student in I forget where, somewhere in the Midwest, and she's got Tulsi just growing through her entire garden like a weed. Like, it's
wow.
just taken over her garden beds and spread. So, yeah, kinda like peppermint, right? Like, it just takes
Mm,
over.
yeah, yeah. Here it will sell it doesn't really, take over, but Tulsi will self sow, so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it keeps coming back.
Mhm.
Well, so you mentioned Tulsi for digestion and lungs. Is there anything you'd like to share about Tulsi's magic in those areas?
Sure. Yeah. Well, in Ayurveda, Tulsi is considered mostly tridoshic, so it's good for most constitutions. She can be a little bit heating, so if you run too warm, it might not be the best herb for you. But in terms of digestion for either like variable, sluggish, or digestion that experiences gas, bloating, Tulsi is such a gentle remedy to help settle some of the imbalances with air and earth that we can experience in our digestive system. I particularly really love her for like nervous belly, like
Mhm.
before I have to speak or, do a podcast or teach a
Mhm.
class, like I tend to hold stress in my belly. So it's really wonderful for me to use Tulsi in that way, especially if I've eaten something that, like, could be heavy or just doesn't suit me for whatever reason. Um, yeah, so she's great for most constitutions, really gentle, really great even for children, which I love. Whereas, ginger can sometimes be fairly spicy. Like Tulsi has this really kind of herbaceous, sweet flavoring that I think is palatable to kids much
Mhm.
more than ginger. So, yeah, like nervous belly, gas, bloating, sluggish digestion.
So speaking of Tulsi for the kiddos, for my honorary nieces, I would always have a box of organic India, the Tulsi Rose,
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite tea bag blends, and they loved it so much. So it was always like a special treat when you come to Auntie Rosie's house.
Oh, I love that one too. It's so sweet and really
Hmm.
delicious, and it just feels like yeah, I love that tea.
Yeah, wonderful. So your recipe, the Tulsi Chai, sounds perfect for this digestive
Mhm.
gift here. Do you want to talk a little bit about the recipe?
Yeah. So I use this recipe when I'm craving caffeine, but I know that I don't or shouldn't, or it might not be the best thing for me. And the reason I do that is because Tulsi, like you said, is adaptogenic, so it can help give us energy. So that combined with digestive spices like ginger, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper, it helps to, in Ayurveda, we would say stimulate your Agni or your digestive fire. So it kind of works like if you're putting kindling on a fire to help wake it up so that we can digest a little bit better, which usually frees up some energy so that we have mental space. And then the tulsi itself is really, um, mood boosting, it's digestion boosting, it's immune boosting, it's anti inflammatory. So it gives us an overall sense of well being. So that combined with the digestive herbs, I love having this pretty much at any point throughout the day. But my favorite time is that like 2 o'clock slump where, you kind of people tend to want like a cup of coffee or, to go outside or take a nap, whatever it is, there can be a dip of energy at that time. So I love Tulsi for that because it'll help wake you up, give you energy, invigorate you without like, stimulating your adrenals.
I love that very specific and very practical application. I feel like what happens with me is like 4 p.m. I wish that I'd had caffeine at 2 p.m., but like 4
Mhm.
is like way too late to consider something like that. So I love
Yeah.
this. That's a wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
And so many of my herbal teas tend to be just for whatever reason more on the relaxing side. Like I
Mhm.
love, chamomile and oat straw, which is like not what I'm looking for at 4 p.m. So yeah,
Totally.
I love this
Yeah.
indication.
Yeah. So, yeah, the warming spices, like, letting those boil if you have time, like really making them warm and spicy, and then throwing in the tulsi at the last
Mm.
minute, like you would tea leaves. It really gives it this like super herbally, and you can almost trick yourself into thinking it's caffeine.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, you associate it with
Yeah.
with yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and if the Tulsi steeps long enough, it does get, like, kind of bitter, which can taste tea-like.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll sweeten it with, milk and sugar or jaggery. Sometimes I'll have it more with, like, lemon and kind of make it a tart, just depending on how I'm feeling that day. And sometimes I'll just drink it as is, like an herbal tea.
Mm. Oh, that's lovely, and listeners, if you're excited to try this like I am, then you can download your beautifully illustrated recipe card on the show notes or at herbswithrosaliepodcast.com. Thank you so much for sharing this recipe with us, Anjali.
Of course, happy. I hope more people consume Tulsi.
Yeah. Um, so we talked about digestion. Did you wanna add anything about the lungs?
Oh, sure. Mm, in Ayurveda, we say that there's like a direct correlation between two of the ways that air moves in your body. So, air helps to move digestion down, and then also breath in and out. And they're really intimately related. So, often, like, if you have a stomach ache, it's hard to take a deep breath, right? They kind of go hand in hand in that way.
Mhm.
So I love Tulsi's capacity to help us kind of open up stagnation that we can hold, but also tension around the lungs and the respiratory system, especially as seasons are changing or there's environmental allergens. I think Tulsi just kind of helps us take a sigh, take a deep breath, like relax a little bit. And so that afternoon cup of chai that's waking up your digestive system is also settling your breath and therefore your nervous system, and promoting your immunity. Tulsi is known to be antibacterial, to help with the respiratory system, to help prevent colds and coughs and flus. So, yeah, it just is like, it has this fantastic synergy of digestion and respiratory qualities.
Mm. And so what if somebody, just asking for a friend, falls really in love with Tulsi and they're thinking, I want to have Tulsi every single day. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for most constitutions, that's probably good. I think there's a few contraindications if you are taking high doses of Tulsi with like an SSRI. There might be some contraindications there, but otherwise, from what I understand, Tulsi is amazing for the majority of people.
Yeah. I studied Ayurveda a bit in my clinical practice, and I remember that the dosage range for Tulsi is quite high,
Yeah.
uh, like ounces even, like of the herb, not of water, but of ounces of the herb. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And In my experiences in India, whenever I'm there, like there is such an abundance of everything. Like when you watch someone make chai, there's like, maybe a 4-inch piece of ginger going into a cup of chai.
Mhm.
Whereas in the West, maybe we use half an inch. And it's the same with Tulsi. Like here, we're like, okay, I'll put a little teaspoon of this leaf into my tea. But in India, you might see somebody harvest like, a pound of fresh Tulsi leaves and decoct that into tea. So I think it's interesting to like see how much your body can resonate with the herb and what's appropriate for you. But yeah, the dosage for Tulsi can be pretty high.
That's one of the things I feel so blessed to have been able to study different systems and like glean gifts from each of them. But dosage is one that I'm very like happy that I was, because I do feel like that's just my bias, but I feel like a lot of Western herbalism dosages are very teeny tiny comparatively to other systems of the world. And I think that's a place that Western herbalism could grow, perhaps, if I want to say it in a nice way.
Totally.
Mm.
Yeah.
You've meant so you grow Tulsi. Are there ways that you like Tulsi fresh, that might be different than ways you like it dried?
Yeah, I actually use Tulsi like I would basil. So
Mm,
I chop her up and put her on top of pasta or in a
mhm,
salad. I also really love Tulsi infused in honey. Um,
mm.
that's one of my favorites. So if I have a bunch, I'll just infuse it in honey. Um, but yeah, you could top a salad, a pasta, a pizza. Like I use it just like basil.
Yeah, and is a as a pesto too? Do you make
I have made a pesto. I think with pesto, I prefer traditional basil,
Hmm.
because to me, Tulsi has more of like a cinnamony kind of sweetness to it.
Mhm.
Um, but I do like a Tulsi pesto now and then, especially with like a pistachio instead of a pine nut. It's a really
Ooh, okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to
nice
try
combo.
that. Um, One of my favorite things with fresh Tulsi is to chop the fresh Tulsi up and put it into a jar, fill that with cold water, put it in the fridge for half an hour to 12 hours, and then drink the fresh, cold
Mhm,
infusion of Tulsi.
mhm.
That one's one of my favorites. Do you do that?
I don't, no,
No?
it sounds
Oh.
lovely. Yeah, I because of Ayurveda, we try to stay away from cold drinks, but
Mm.
it sounds really
It could
refreshing.
also just be on the counter. Like that's what
Yeah,
I'll often do is the counter as well. So it could be tepid as opposed to like cold, cold.
you're
Um,
making me wanna try, like, a Tulsi lemonade, like, that sounds like a really nice
ooh, yeah.
combo too.
Yeah, I'd be curious what you think. Just, speaking from one Tulsi lover to another, I feel like I'm using the African variety with this the most, and um, I feel like there's a strong demulcent quality to it, and so it becomes this like cooling, soothing, moistening drink that's is lovely for. I know you live in an arid climate like I do, so in the summertime it just feels so lovely. I
Yeah,
don't consider it as like it's just different than the tea. I definitely think drying the plant and making a
mm,
hot tea out of it is like we could say a stronger medicine
yeah,
in some ways, but it's also just different, so in the heat of the
mm,
summer, that soothing, moistening, cooling
mm.
aspect of having that as a colder infusion is just so lovely.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, I'm gonna try it this summer.
Yeah, I'm curious about the demulcent too, because you never really hear Tulsi discussed as a demulcent, but I feel like when it's done like that, there's a strong demulcent property to it. But I don't.
Yeah, I can
Anyway.
see that. I mean, I think, even just thinking about, like, the structure of how soft her leaves can be,
Mm,
and yeah, and also her affinity for lungs, it makes sense that there might be some demulcent quality there.
yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't covered on Tulsi that you would like to share?
Good question. I think one of the other ways that I like to interact with Tulsi that isn't necessarily like consumption based is to offer her to my altar. I
Mhm.
think she, is considered in Vedic thought, she's considered like a conduit between, our realm and like the heavens above. And so I often just really enjoy offering it at my altar, especially for me when I'm like seeking qualities that like I associate more with the feminine. So like if I want to be more compassionate and more patient and more loving and more kind, I will offer Dulce to my altar because I think something about her archetype holds that quality. So Yeah, I love consuming her and interacting with her and also using her as an offering.
Hmm. Yeah, you've already mentioned this, but Tulsi being such a truly sacred plant to so many people.
Yeah.
One of my first introductions to Tulsi was a friend of mine who was from New Delhi, and he told me that he would pray to Tulsi before his feet hit the ground in the morning. And they had that kind of open courtyard in their house, and they had Tulsi growing in the courtyard. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's really common in Indian households to also take a tulsi leaf every morning and have that be the first thing that enters your body, uh,
Mm,
which is so interesting to think about, like, the immune boosting
yeah.
qualities of that. Um,
Digestion and
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, so having her be, kind of part of, like, daily ritual life is really interesting too.
Mhm. And do you ever use Tulsi externally?
Um, I have done some tulsi washes for, like,
Mm,
wounds.
mhm,
Um, it's not my go-to. It's something that I'll use if I don't have turmeric or some
mm.
neem or something else. Um, but it can be really great for washes for wounds. And also, I've heard, I haven't tried it myself, but for dandruff, I've heard it can be really wonderful to wash the scalp with it.
Wow, I just want my hair to smell like Tulsi all the time.
I know, right?
Yeah, that sounds really lovely.
Yeah, I kind of feel like tulsi and rosemary would make, like, a wonderful hair
Mhm.
wash.
Mm, that does sound like a lovely hair wash, and when you said that, I also just thought it sounds like a lovely bath, like, kind of a stimulating
Mm,
bath,
yeah.
getting the circulation going and yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm. Yeah, that's one thing about Tulsi, there's so many different ways to work with Tulsi. I feel like not all plants are some are and just some aren't, and Tulsi, I feel like there's this never-ending creative aspect of working with Tulsi.
Yeah, and I think that's, probably why she's called, like, the mother and, like, listed with
Mhm.
hundreds of benefits because you can just do so much, you know? Like, I think about cilantro, who I also love, but you can't do as many things with cilantro.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing about Tulsi. Thank you for the Tulsi Chai recipe, and that specific indication. I feel like that's gonna be very helpful to me personally, so I like that. And, I'd love to talk about you have a program coming up this summer in Greece. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I am teaming up with a really good friend of mine, Gabby, and we are leading a retreat in Mani, Greece this summer, this July, for 6 nights. And it's a retreat all about kind of diving into what we call Shakti, which is the divine feminine energy. So we use this through yoga, through Ayurveda. So we'll have embodiment practices, but then also certain self care rituals, like how we massage and anoint our body with herbal oils, how we consume certain herbal teas to, inspire beauty, how we interact with one another through certain communication styles, like really just kind of exploring the divine feminine through yoga asana, meditation, herbs, and self care rituals. And I'm so excited to just be in the backdrop of Greece, which I visited 2 years ago. And I don't know what it is about Greece, but something about the sunlight and the clear ocean and the food and the olive oil, like it's just so nourishing. It's so
Mhm.
rejuvenating, and I think, like, the feminine spirit just really benefits from being surrounded by beauty and by awe and by curiosity, and yeah, so I'm delighted to have this retreat over the summer and, hopeful that we'll get a few more folks to come and join us in this exploration.
Oh, it sounds really lovely. I was looking at it earlier, and as I was looking, I was thinking to myself, this is how I love to travel, is
Mhm,
doing retreats like this because I'm kind of over like going to like tourist sites and I don't know, it just doesn't that for me personally just doesn't hold a lot of interest to me anymore. Like I've been to a lot of museums and I've been to a lot of like sites and stood in line and that sort of thing. Now I like to go and experience the place. And
mhm.
it's so nice to do that within a group with a guide. I often travel by myself because my handsome French husband doesn't like to travel. So I go by myself. And so that also makes it nice to go, with other people and just have this kind of held experience. But also where yeah, it's not about like rushing from place to place, but just about like taking a moment to just like soak in that sunshine, go to the waters, eat the food, and you just really get a sense of a place that you do more than like standing in line for, the Parthenon or whatever.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I also think about it as like understanding the spirit of a place and like what
Mhm,
it has to offer. And just the history of Greece is so fascinating with,
mhm.
its ancient mysticism and stories of gods and goddesses. And like, I just think there's some kind of potent something underneath the surface that we can tap into there.
Mhm. Is where you're going, is it an island? I don't recognize the name.
It's, not an island, it's about 3 hours from Athens on the coast, so it's like
Okay.
this rugged ocean coastline.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
And just in case someone's wondering, does somebody need to be a very experienced, yoga person? No?
No, no, not at all. We've got a range of folks coming, some who are, like, brand new to yoga and some who've been
Mm,
practitioners for a long time, but our intention is for it to be accessible for anyone who's interested,
mm,
if it speaks to you and it calls you, and even if it's something that's totally new to you, if you're called, if you feel a sense of like, "Ah, that sounds interesting," then it probably would be good for you.
mm. It definitely sounds interesting to me. Yeah,
Yay!
it just
That
sounds
makes me
really
happy to
beautiful.
hear. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to take people to beautiful spaces and, like, hopefully help them find a little bit more connection to, like, an authentic self within them.
Mm,
So, I feel really honored to be able to hold that space.
that's really beautiful, Anjali.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, I'd love to ask one last question,
Mhm.
which for you is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Mm. I love that question. The first thought that came to mind, and I know you're leading a course with Rebecca on resilience, and the first word that came to my mind was resilience.
Mm,
Like, I just think about, how plants have evolved alongside human beings for our entire existence and how they just provide us with resilience. They provide us with an ability to come back to ourselves, to heal, to, take in nutrients that we might be missing, or to offer us qualities that maybe are lowered in our lives. Like, there's just this symbiotic relationship between us and plants that I think is so amazing that we have these like friends,
mm,
growing alongside us that offer us what we need and bring us back to a place of resiliency.
mm. What a wonderful word for Tulsi as well. And just, yeah, everything you emanate about Tulsi and resilience and plant friends, it just really does shine through you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thanks so much for taking time to be with us and for sharing about Tulsi and about your plant path as well. Yeah, all of
of
it's
course.
been just wonderful, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know you.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for having me. And it's been real fun just chatting with you about plants. I feel like we should do this all the time.
We should. Let's do it. Thanks again.
No problem.
Thanks for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card and to get a transcript of this show. There, you'll also be able to sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. And if you'd like to stay in touch with Anjali, the best way to do that is on Instagram at Anjali Deva Ayurveda. If you'd like more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Nicole Paul is the project manager who oversees the whole operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes to actually uploading each episode and so many other things I don't even know. She really holds this whole thing together. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusikova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them. I know that you do too. Christy edits the recipe cards, and then Jenny creates them as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Michelle is the tech wizard behind the scenes, and Karen is our student services coordinator and customer support. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your herbal thoughts on Tulsi. Okay, you have lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. As Anjali and I shared, it's so easy to fall in love with Tulsi. If you're newer to this podcast, or if you'd like to revisit more of this sacred plant, I have several episodes dedicated to Tulsi. You'll definitely want to check out the interview with Lucretia Van Dyke and her amazing recipe for pancakes. I've made this recipe many, many, many times. It is so delicious. Also, a few weeks back, my friend Rebecca and I shared some creative ways to work with Tulsi, including a Tulsi shrub recipe. And I also have 2 focused solo episodes about Tulsi, including sharing more about the different varieties, side effects to look out for, and the joys of the tea. Enjoy Tulsi!